Welcome to the newest episode of the More People podcast. I'm your host, Richard Hanwell, Managing Director for More People. I'm thrilled today to be joined by Mike Harpham. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Mike, for the benefit of our audience, if you'd be so kind as just to introduce yourself.
A Spalding born and bred. I started working for Geest in London, was moved back from London to Spalding, screaming and kicking after 3 years in London. Stayed with Geest until 93. Left, joined my brother-in-law. We had our own business. We sold that in 2007 to a Belgian company. Stayed with them, probably outstayed my welcome with them, and retired in 2018. And now I'm a non-exec director.
What drew you to the industry in the first place?
My father was a farmer in Spalding, and he actually ended up eventually working for Geest.
Wow.
In the farming division at Geest. So that was always sort of there in my DNA. I did a French degree and business studies course at Portsmouth Polytechnic. My father mentioned to me that he thought that Geest had an office in London at the London Fruit Exchange at Spitalfields Market, where they had a French department.
Okay.
So I literally wrote to the managing director, a chap called Doug Henderson, wrote to Doug, explained who I was, told him that I was doing a French degree course with marketing, and asked him if he had a job. He invited me to London. I met with the French guy who was running their French procurement department. We had a chat in French for about half an hour in the bar above the offices, and after half an hour he offered me a job. And it was as simple as that, really. It's like falling off a stone.
It begs the question then, having been involved in the industry for such a large period of time, what have been the biggest changes you've seen?
There was a sweet spot, I think, that I enjoyed very much for about 20 to 30 years, when there was a healthy collaborative relationship between, let's call them traditional importers and retailers. I think everybody in those days knew their place and the role that they were fulfilling. Retailers were earning good profits, and I'm referring to 80s through to early 2000s, really.
Okay.
The retailers were earning good margins, the importers were earning margins, growers, exporters were doing well. So everyone was doing fairly well from a business growth profitability perspective. Yeah. That changed, in my view, post 2008, with the recession we had. Yeah. And what we saw was the emergence of the German discounters, Aldi and Lidl, who'd been present in the market for a very long time. And I think they were very shrewd in how they capitalized on that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Aldi adverts for star products like lamb shank. Yeah. And everyone was talking about, have you bought the lamb shank in Aldi? It's fantastic. And we saw a change in consumer attitude to shopping in discounters. That obviously posed a threat to the major retailers. And from that moment on, in my experience, it became much harder to be a supplier to retailers, as they put more and more pressure on the supply base. So it became more aggressive, pricing became harder to negotiate, margins reduced dramatically, and that pressure went all the way down the chain, which in a way was a good thing, because it made businesses become more efficient in how they did business.
Had to survive, yeah. There seems to be a bit of a power struggle at times, if that's fair to say. How does one improve that relationship?
It's still hard work. I mean, because the margins and costs are continually under pressure, and we can't forget that retailers themselves are under pressure.
Indeed,
it's not
indeed.
For them. Yeah. But I think for those suppliers who understand that and work with the retailers to help them achieve their strategic objectives, their cost objectives, I think there's still a healthy future.
Yeah, it's that word partnership, isn't it? It's a small word, but it means a heck of a lot. And then, to your point, you have to add value.
Yeah.
What opportunities do you see in the next kind of few years within the produce industry?
If you want to be involved in the supply side, supplying into retailers, you must have an understanding of the difference between adding value and adding cost. So you need to be very clear about what it is you're doing, the activities you're involved in, and are they adding value to within that supply chain? If you have a USP, that helps. And if you look at certain businesses, they're trying to become more integrated, vertically integrated from start right back to breeding or control of varieties, so control of IP in varieties, all the way through as far as they can, delivery into supermarket depots. And I think the opportunities are there for those businesses who can become more integrated, who can go back to the production side, back to varietal development side. And if they have a unique selling point that attracts the retailers and consumers at a fair price, then there's the opportunity for suppliers who want to maintain a business in this market now.
Yeah, so if they've got a foot in the door on one front, adding more strings to their bow to become, I hate the term one-stop shop, but create a better offering.
Yes, I think so. And one of the businesses that I'm working with now, we started off really just being a growing business, a farming business, and everything that was grown by that company went through a marketing desk. Now we've developed the strategy and we've gone right back to engaging with breeders. We're doing a direct supply to retailers. So we've taken out the elements, even we've taken out elements where we felt businesses were adding cost and not value. And we've become more vertically integrated, which seems to be what the retailers, our customers we're talking to, want us to do.
Yeah, I can imagine. So drawing on your experiences, that when we look at the non-exec director roles, and when you've gone into organisations, I'm always curious to see whether there's any themes in some of the challenges that you're facing.
It wasn't something I'd planned to do, but I was approaching retirement. I was approached by an ex colleague of mine, someone who used to procure fruit from Australia, funnily enough. And he was working for a private equity company. They had a fund that was investing in agri-tech businesses, and they were looking for someone like me who had experience in the fresh produce industry. They asked me to carry out the commercial due diligence on a business that they were looking to buy. And once I'd completed that, several months later, they went through the acquisition, and they asked me if I would join the board as a non-exec director, representing them as their representative on the board. The challenges, there are two challenges really. First one for me was to move from being an exec to a non-exec. Is you're only putting the word non in front of exec, but the difference is massive, because being an exec or a chief exec or a managing director, you're used really to getting your own way.
Being listened
obviously
to.
You devise ways to get the message over, or you're asked over in a way that you get buy-in. Being a non-exec, I had to learn a different skill set in terms of how to engage with the CEO, with the C-suite, with the exec team at the Summerberry company.
Yeah. During that period of time when you're working as a NED for the first time, how many days a month would you be in the business?
The private equity guys asked me how much time could I was I prepared to spare, or how much time could I spare, and I suggested, well, let's run with 4 days a month, day a week, effectively, and see how that plays out. It obviously flexes. It could be 2 days traveling to the farms in Portugal, and then nothing the following week, or it could be a couple of hours here. It varies, but by and large, 4 days a month it seems to work for them and for me. Most businesses have changed in terms of how they operate, and we do a lot of remote work, a lot of remote board meetings, a lot of remote catch-ups with the exec team. So it's a lot easier just to keep in touch remotely. So it's not just 4 days in the month that I'm dropping into the business and the rest of the time I'm not out. It could be, so for example, every Tuesday I have a catch-up call with the private equity guys and the CEO of the business, and we have a catch-up in terms of just updating what's happening in the business at that time. We then have a more formal board meeting every month, I'm mentoring one of the commercial team. We've found a way that makes it work for the business. For me personally, it's provided a soft landing for me in terms of retiring, being a full stop, to retiring but still being involved in the business.
Wow.
Without the stress, without
Yeah.
the stress of
Yeah.
running the
Yeah.
business,
And
with waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, concerned about, did I make the right decision? What impact will that have on the business, and so on. There is little or no stress involved in being a non-exec director. Within the whole exec team and me being a non-exec, I have the unique opportunity to be able to stand back and look at the big picture and not get involved in any of the day-to-day noise that the rest of the exec team, right up the CEO, has to deal with. I can stand back, look at what's happening, analyze it, and then go back to the team, CEO, or
less emotional as well.
Less emotional, less stressful, as I say. And by and large, a lot of what we're doing, a lot of the issues that may come to us or the strategy we're trying to implement, I've already had experience of. So it's relatively easy to actually analyze that in a fairly calm, objective way, and then present options to the business.
Yeah. Even in our exposure of utilising our non-exec, that's what we're looking. We're looking for the calmness.
Yes.
We're looking for the reassurance.
Yeah.
We're looking almost parent-like figure to help navigate you through whatever situation you're in, which could be a growth phase, which presents different challenges. It could be a customer challenge, but having somebody with that calmness to navigate you through is worth its weight in gold.
Absolutely right. I think there's no way to get experience than through experience. You have to put the time in, and in doing so, you then build up a network. You build up an understanding of the industry. As I said earlier, you actually then experience a lot of challenges that the businesses are going to be facing going forward. So it's a strange concept because we never had a non-exec director in our business. So my time with Geese, there were no non-exec directors. When I was with my brother-in-law at Maliagile, and then more recently when we sold the business to Univeg, which became Greenyard, there were no non-execs. I had no experience of them. Would we have brought a non-exec in? Knowing what I know now, I probably would have done if I had my time again. But it wasn't something we thought of.
Less sleepless nights, maybe.
Well, again, just someone who can say, okay, don't stress about this, guys. I've been through this before. Maybe you need to think about this, or this as a potential solution. So, but yeah, I thoroughly recommend it. If people are exiting the business after having been in the industry for a long time and wondering what to do, I generally recommend look at being a non-exec.
And the value it adds to people think about employing one as well.
Yes.
The massive amounts of value that can be added.
Well, I'd like to think that if you asked the private equity guys or the exec team, that they'll think I'm adding value. But yeah, we've completely changed the business now. Super. And it's a successful business now.
Fantastic. Mike, thank you so much for popping in. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.